Hey guys, and welcome to day one of our 5-day series over overcoming fear and anxiety. I am so excited to start this journey with you. Maybe starting yoga is a fear for you, so you've already overcome one fear by stepping onto your mat today. These 5 days are created to help you feel comfortable and confident on your mat, whether you've done yoga before or this is your first time. So welcome, and I'm excited to do this together. Let's go ahead and get started with our topic for today. Who is God? Fear and anxiety have a way of crippling us in our walk with the Lord. Maybe you have fear over things happening in the world or situations around you. Maybe there's anxiety over things of the future that are unclear, or maybe it's your own shortcomings and weaknesses. When we worry, we're letting our circumstances define what God can do, rather than letting what God can do determine your circumstances. And so when we worry, we need to change our perspective and focus back on who is this God that we're talking to. For me in my life, a couple summers ago, I was really struggling with fear and anxiety in my life. The Lord had asked me to step out of something that I was doing, a really comfortable job that I had, and I was about to start paying rent, and so I was going to need financial provision. And He was inviting me into a place to let go of doing it myself and really trusting His provision and trusting in who He is in my life. And I wish I could say that that was all easy and that I had no problems doing that, but in reality, I struggled with fear and anxiety and really worried about what was going to happen and how this was going to work out and everything. And there was one day that he brought me to this place of just surrender, of my own striving, of trusting in my strength and what I can do, and putting my gaze on who He is and the fact that He is able to do so much more than I can, and really just come to a peace in Him and a rest in Him rather than trying to work everything out myself. And I really did experience His peace that day in a way that I never had before. And it was that afternoon that I got a call and was given a job that I really loved and was my passion and provided everything that I needed for that season. And maybe that's not your story or how He's going to work in your life, but that's how He spoke to me and what He brought me through. And it was that place where I had to learn to trust Him there in order for Him to walk with me in new places. And so it was just so awesome to see how the Lord told me to first trust in Him and rest in Him and come to that complete surrender of I am not good enough and I will never be strong enough to do it myself, and to really just put my gaze back on Him. So I've got a few verses to share with you today. The first one coming out of Revelation 22:13, and it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. And in Colossians 1:16, it says, for in Him all things were created, things in heaven and earth, visible and invisible. All things have been created through Him and for Him. And the last one in Ephesians 3:20 says He can do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. When we focus on this mighty God who can do so much more than we've ever asked Him to do or can even dream of, when we put our gaze on Him and who walks with us and who will do all the things that He's promised in our life, why should we worry? All right, friends, we are going to get started today in a simple seated posture on our mat. So crossing at the ankles, opening up the hips, rooting down through the tailbone and sitting up tall all the way through the crown of the head. Maybe it feels good here to place blocks or tall books under the knees to relieve any pressure out of the knees. And here we're going to close the eyes and start with 3 breaths all together. So releasing out through the mouth any air, and then inhale through the nose, filling up the body. And whenever you've filled up all the way to the top, open mouth, exhale, release it out with a sigh. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale through the nose, feeling the chest and belly expand, and open mouth, exhale. And one more time all together, inhale through the nose, filling up, bringing the breath in. Hold it here at the top for 3, 2, 1, and exhale out through the mouth. Inhale, sit up a little bit taller. Exhale, chin to chest, opening up the back of the neck. Inhale, draw the right ear to the right shoulder, opening up the left side of the neck. And exhale, bring the chin back down to the chest. Inhale, the left ear to left shoulder, opening up that opposite side, relieving any pressure here. And then exhale, bring the chin back into the chest. Slowly with your breath, take the head all the way around, taking slow neck rolls, opening up the throat and each side of the neck. Gently moving here, using the inhales and the exhales as you move, and then reversing the opposite direction, bringing the head to the left, to the back, to the right, and back to the front. Coming back to center, sitting up tall. Inhale the shoulders high towards the ears, and exhale, release them down the back. Just slowly taking some shoulder rolls, moving here, and then reversing those circles, going forward, opening up and releasing tightness. Inhale, reach the fingertips all the way up. And on your exhale, release the right hand down to the ground, taking a side stretch over to the right. Left fingertips reaching over. Hips are planted into the ground, just using the torso here to stretch to the side. Inhale, slightly pull the left shoulder back. Exhale, reach a little bit deeper. Inhale the fingers back to the center, and exhale, take it to the other side. Left hand comes down to the mat. Right fingertips reach over. Inhale again, pulling that right shoulder back slightly, open up the chest. And exhale, reach a little bit deeper. Coming back to center, bring the hands to the knees. We're going to take a seated cat-cow. So as we inhale, bring the gaze high, chest comes forward, coming into your cow pose. And exhale, chin comes to the chest, rounding out through the spine to cat pose. Inhale, open up the chest, gaze comes high, coming back to your cow, opening up the front body. And exhale to your cat, opening up and lengthening through the spine. Take that a couple more times with your breath at your own pace. Again, moving gently here. We're not in a rush, we're not in a hurry. Taking it slow. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, twisting over the right shoulder, bring the left hand to the right knee and gaze over the right. twisting out through the core muscles. Inhale, sit up a little bit taller, and exhale, twist a little bit deeper, seeing if you can bring the gaze over that right shoulder just a little bit more. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, take it to the other side. Right hand comes to left knee, twisting over the left. Gaze coming towards the back of the mat. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, twist. Twists are great for improving digestion and circulation in the body. Inhale, come back to center. And we're going to let the feet come out long down the mat, coming into our staff pose. So hands come next to the hips, toes pointed towards the ceiling. Sitting up tall here, getting that long and straight line through the back. You can use blocks or books under the hands, or maybe slightly bending the knees to take some pressure out of the legs. Just starting to open up the hamstrings. Inhale, reach the fingertips high. And on your exhale, we're going to bring those fingers forward, coming all the way until we've hit our limit, and then arch through the spine and fold over those legs. Starting to open up the hamstrings here, finding our forward fold. Letting that chest reach down towards the thighs, either grabbing onto the shins or the ankles or the toes, wherever the body's at today. Forward bending postures soothe the nervous system, and they are cleansing to the liver and intestines. They open the hamstrings and the back of the body while bringing fresh blood and oxygen to the brain. As you practice forward folds, don't be discouraged if you're not where you want to be, but be patient with the body and breathe into it. Allow the body to open at its own pace. Get one more deep breath here in your forward fold. And exhale, release the chest a little bit closer down to those thighs. Inhale, come back to center. And on your exhale, we're going to swing the legs around and come onto the hands and knees to tabletop position. If you'd like to place pillows or a towel under the knees to take some pressure out of the knees, feel free to do so. The hands are just rested under the shoulders, knees under the hips, drawing the belly button in towards the spine. As we inhale, bring the right fingertips high and open up the chest towards the right. On our exhale, we're going to thread the needle by bringing that right hand under the body over to the left, dropping the right shoulder down and bringing the gaze under that left arm. Close the eyes, inhale. So it's a great twist, opening up the lower back and between the shoulder blades. And exhale, see if you can bring that gaze just a little deeper over to the left. And then slowly coming back to center, bringing that hand back into the mat. We're going to switch to the other side. Inhale the left fingertips high, open up the chest towards the left, and then exhale, thread the needle on the other side, releasing the left arm through the body, looking under that right arm. Closing the eyes and breathing here. Deep inhale through the nose and exhale it out through the mouth. Great twist here. Coming back to our neutral spine and tabletop. Press the hips all the way back onto the heels, and we're going to find a child's pose. So the fingertips are reaching towards the front, elongating all the way through the spine. And here in your child's pose, you can find some different options. You can keep the knees together, or you can start to open up the knees a little bit deeper, opening up the hips, taking this pose a little bit deeper. You can keep the hands planted down onto the mat, or you can open up the palms towards the sky. You can keep the tops of the feet planted into the mat, or you can tuck the toes and open up the bottoms of the feet. This pose opens the hips and lower back while calming the mind and reducing stress. I personally love this posture as a place to come and just open my hands to the Lord, laying down my burdens to Him. And with my open palms, I'm here to receive whatever the Lord has for me instead. Take this posture, breathe into it, be present here with the Father, opening up your hands to whatever you need Him to just take today, and open to receive what He has for you instead. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Starting to press into the hands, we're going to lift the hips coming into downward facing dog. Bringing the heels down towards the mat. Starting to walk out your dog by bending one leg at a time. Lifting those hips high. Coming out of the shoulders, bringing weight out of the wrists. Lifting up into this posture. And then starting to let those heels sink down towards the mat, maybe not making contact today, but reaching and starting to open up those hamstrings a little bit more. Inhale, look to the top of the mat, and exhale, slowly walk those feet in between the hands, coming to a forward fold. Letting the head hang low towards the ground, grab onto opposite elbows, coming into our ragdoll posture. Maybe taking a slight sway from side to side. Bringing that chest in towards the thighs. Inhale, deep breath through the nose. And exhale, let it out. Finding a slight bend through the knees, release the hands down. And inhale the fingertips all the way up, coming to extended mountain. Exhale, bring the hands down into the heart. Inhale back to your mountain. Interlace the fingers except for the pointers. And exhale, take a tilt over to the right, opening up the left side of the body, keeping the hips and shoulders face towards the front. Inhale back to center. And exhale, take your tilt to the left. Inhale to center, slightly pressing the hips forward, and exhale, release the forehead back for a slight back bend. Inhale back to center, and exhale, fold all the way down. Coming back to your forward fold. Inhale, half lift, slightly bringing the chest up, sliding the hands just a little bit up the legs. And exhale, plant the hands down and walk the feet back to your downward dog. If it's easier to stand and walk to the back of the mat and then join in downward facing dog there, feel free to do so. Inhale in your downward dog, letting those feet come a little bit closer down towards the mat. And exhale, release the knees down to the mat, finding your Chaturanga Dandasana, bringing the elbows at a 90-degree angle. Inhale, upward dog, opening up the chest towards the front. And exhale, downward facing dog. That was our first vinyasa flow. We'll take a few more of these throughout our practices over the next few days. Inhale, look to the top of the mat. And exhale, slowly walk the feet back into our forward fold. We're going to take this one more time from the top. Again, hanging low here, letting the head be heavy, bringing the chest in towards the legs. And then finding that slight bend through the legs, inhale, lift it all the way up into extended mountain. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, extended mountain. And exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, plant the hands, walk it back to your downward dog. Releasing the knees down to the mat. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward dog, finishing out our second vinyasa flow. Take a breath here. Maybe walk out the dog again, bending one leg at a time, or being still here in this posture, opening up those hamstrings a little bit deeper, bringing the chest in towards the legs. Inhale and exhale. Whenever you're ready, release the knees onto the mat and come to seated, letting the knees be high and the feet planted in front of you. Giving those knees a hug, inhale and exhale. Release the fingers back behind you, and then we're going to reach forward, bringing the chin into the chest, arching through the spine. And then slowly release the body all the way down to the mat. Bringing the knees into the chest, give your body a tight hug. Give yourself a word of encouragement as we slow down our practice. Maybe rocking the knees from side to side. Inhale. Then exhale. Release the feet onto the edges of the mat. Let the arms come out to a T beside you. We're going to take slow windshield wipers. So as we inhale, keeping the knees in the center, and then exhale, release the knees over to the right, opening up the left side of the body. Inhale back to center, and exhale, drop them over to the left, opening up the right side of the body. Inhale back to center. Go ahead and take a few more of these with your own breath at your own pace. Slowly moving, releasing any tightness that might still be here in the lower back or the hips. Opening up that chest for deep breathing. Sometimes when we have stress or we have anxiety, we like to close off our chest and kind of hunch over and have tightness there. And it keeps us from being able to take deep breaths. But when we remind our body to open up, to breathe deep, it actually reminds our brain to slow down and find rest. Remind the body here to take those deep breaths and be still. Send the left toes down the mat, giving the right knee a hug. And then we're going to take the left hand and grab onto the right knee and pull it over to the left, finding a spinal twist. So the right arm is out long and the gaze is following over to the right. Spinal twists relieve pain in the lower back and are really great for a cool down posture at the end of your practice. Inhale through the nose. And exhale, let that knee come a little bit closer towards the ground. Inhale the knee back to center. And then exhale, send those right toes long down the mat, switching to the other side. Left knee comes into the chest, give it a tight hug. Right hand brings the left knee over to the right. And find your spinal twist on the opposite side. Left arm coming out long and gaze falling to the right. Opening up the left glute, twisting out through the abdominal muscles. breathing here. Inhale. Exhale, release that knee a little bit closer towards the ground. Inhale back to center. And exhale, release the toes long, finding our final resting posture in Shavasana or corpse pose. Letting the hands come down the mat, closing the eyes, and we're going to release each muscle at a time, starting from the forehead, unfurrowing the eyebrows, letting the eyes sink back and the eyelids just softly closing on top of them. Unclenching the jaw, let the tongue come away from the roof of the mouth. Open up the chest, let the shoulders be heavy into the ground. Unlocking the knees, and let the toes roll to the outsides of the mat. Finding that deep breath here. And as we're laying here, I'm going to read 3 questions I have for us to just meditate on, maybe for you to pray about, or from here, grabbing your journal and writing down your thoughts on these questions. But I encourage you to seek the Lord as you go through these questions. Let them really meet your heart. Be open and honest with yourself. The first question is, what words come to your mind when you think about God? What fear or worry in your life are you allowing to look larger than God? How can you give the Father, our God above everything, your worry today? Father, help us to remember who it is we're talking to, who walks with us daily. Lord, remind our hearts that we can lay our worries down at your feet. Help us to walk in this truth today, this freedom from worry, from anxiety, from fear. God, I pray that you would just meet every person watching this, opening up their heart to you. Would you just meet us where we are today, Lord? Reveal the places where we worry or doubt, and help us to remember who you are, God. We love you. We pray all these things in your name. Amen. Thank you again so much for joining me on your mat today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.